So let's get into this. First of all, for the Superman thing, as I said, complex discussion, major, minor. I said suspensions. I actually went for you can call this chord a lot of things. In my brain, I like to think of this as a sus2 add 7, really. Okay, it's actually the first chord I started that Lois and Clark piece with, and then I just moved it up to D flat. Same chord. It was F. I'll do it here lower. F, and then up to D flat. Same exact chord. sus2. Major 7th. So I just did a little thing. Okay, that's how it started. Now I chose that tonality for 2 reasons. As I said, first, suspension, right? The idea is we're discussing things that don't yet have a clear resolution one way or the other. We don't know yet. We're talking about it. That sort of beautiful Copland-esque thing just gives it a little dissonance right there. There's a dissonance built right into it, right? Because there's some conflict in this. There's a little bit of conflict. They want to be together. They can't be together. But of course, you separate it by almost an octave, and it's beautiful. But there was another reason. This was going to be a Superman tribute, and there it is. So I'm just sort of saying Superman very subtly, but inside of the movie you've heard that a billion times, so the audience might sort of be in there with you. Williams likes that chord, as do I, and does Bruce Hornsby and Russell Ferrante and about a billion other people, Aaron Copland. But it's also the same chord from... he just likes it. It's very flexible, and it's cool. I dig it. So anyway, so I started with that. That's what I did. And then I just moved it up here. Because why not? So, all right, so let's begin writing a piece. And we'll just, for its own sake, we'll start with the same chord. I did from F to D flat, so I'll split the difference and do an A flat today. How about A flat? So, anchors. In this case, thinking about my principles, my rules, I'll probably start just by fishing out for some anchors in motion. One thing you can always do, as I did with this little example, you can always outline chord tones. Now, by the way, I'm just working on a full string patch, not one that I will ultimately use, but I just do this when I'm writing strings. I just pull up a big wide string, patch, just so I don't run out of notes. So A flat. So one thing I might do just to give myself a start is just start outlining the actual notes of the chord that I want to use, just to start getting the audience hip to what I'm going to do. Okay, so you could do something like that right away. In my mind, though, this is a little unusual for me. I've never talked while writing before, so give me a second. In my mind, this is a little predictable, so I might do something more like this. Well, there's a little sort of that kind of idea. And here you go, lulling the audience into a false sense of security. I just outlined a E flat triad. So then I hit him with this A flat. And then because I want to increase I want to let the audience know that there's dissonance in this piece, and we've already left the G. I'll remind him of the G. That's what was driving that motivation there. False sense of security, but But the real chord in my mind was the Superman chord, so I'm going to bring him home with this and remind him of the dissonance. But it's not all dissonance. There's also there's a nice major triad there that I started that with. So I'm playing with them already. This is how at least in my mind, it works. Now I've done something. Ba-da-dum, bum, bum. I want to give him an anchor. So I'm going to repeat it, which is what I did. Actually, give him a little more bite. Okay, so it's essentially mirroring each other. Now I want to add just one little thing, because I want to keep this little dissonance, this thing, which is sort of built into it, A flat against G. I like to keep that as an anchor, keep it moving, so I'm going to add one little passing tone. Doing E flat 1 or 5 1, little predictable. I'm gonna do 4 1 and add this. I'm gonna do a little of this, just a little different, a little sexier. Again, 5 1, real predictable, was fine. Let's change up a little bit. In fact, we'll do this. We'll use the B flat as the passing tone. Sorry, one more time. That's it. So I need it from me one more time. No, it's better. Okay, fine, good. I'm going to move on in a second, but I want to tell you something right now about what I'm doing as I'm learning and writing. This is the moment at which writing without paper is very difficult. If you want to maintain good voice leading and good writing for your sections, virtual or not, you should write well for your sections. Even though this isn't real, when you do things that violate the real world, it affects the quality of your mock-up in ways that non-musicians can't point to but can feel, and real musicians or whatever musicians can point out immediately. You know, for example, sometimes you'll hear people where they'll have a French horn melody, 4 horns playing a melody, but then they also have horns like doing chords, because they want to fill out the sound of the mock-up. But that wouldn't, you don't need 12 horns in a real orchestra to get that sound. You should probably move those to other instruments, that kind of thing. So in this case, here I am with some rather internal complex motion and no real way to get a picture of it. I'm watching my fingers as I do this, and I'm making mental notes. I'm counting the notes. If here's 5 notes, look, there's 5 notes in this chord ultimately. What am I going to do? Split the, I'm getting down here in a second. As soon as I hit this G, I'm at the lowest notes of the violins. So somewhere there must have been violas in there, right? And then when I'm down here, the lowest viola note is right here. So this thing, well, there's obviously cellos in here. So somewhere I need to be thinking, well, where was it viola? Because I'm going to have to play this in a second. Where was violas? Where was cellos? On paper, I could answer this question in 3 seconds because I can look at it. Now, I'm going to be able to do this without a lot of difficulty, but that's only because in my mind I can see the paper and I've gotten sort of practiced at keeping track of all the internal voices in my head. So as I'm watching this go down, that's violin 1s. Here's at this volume, I can do this with 1 stand of violins because it isn't very loud. This is violins 2, and here's going to be violas. So I'm just watching this. I'm just watching the notes. And then I'm going to bring in cellos with this G. And this is going to be violas. Whatever it is. So I know this is going to work out. I can see them. I can follow them. But without a lot of experience, this becomes very difficult, and this can really, really slow you down. So this is one of the reasons I advocate having paper, if for no other reason than to track these sorts of things. Now, where next? Actually, I got a better idea. That's close. Sexier. Okay, got an idea. So here you go. So we're coming out of this. I can hear that in my head. It's a little answer. And I know it's this. Bum, 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 bum. There's Superman. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. This is the thing I just did. I didn't sing very well, but you should be able to do that. Ear training, huge thing. Practice ear training. All it is practice. If you're writing that thing, you run out of fingers. What was I doing? Let's say you'd held this chord. You should be able to do that and know what it is right away without... Why? Because you're in the vibe of it right now. You don't want to have to slow down and go, I don't know, I can hear something should be over this, and you're going... Or maybe, but you want whatever's in your mind. If an idea occurs to you, like it occurred to me there, just as I was holding that chord, you want to be able to go right to it. Because being able to stay in the flow of it and feeling like it's coming effortlessly, which, by the way, can happen and does happen when you're in the vibe properly, you want to be able to strike while the iron's hot. In some ways, you want to run to where the lightning is going to strike. I know that's sort of a weird thing to say, but it's the best way I can describe keeping this fun. So I'm playing along, and I had this idea. I hear this little nice. I hear Superman. Okay, so now, now this little thing I did. As I said, in my mind, right, I was just playing, and as soon as I was holding that thing, that just occurred to me. It's an answer. It's quite literally an answer to something inside that I had been playing. So it's probably a musical answer, which means not strings. This is probably, it's an answer. And look at the range I'm in here. So can you guess what instrument I might be thinking? I'm not going to give you like prize if you win, candy, a star, but the answer is woodwinds, because this seems like this will be sort of delicate. That's what it was when I sort of heard it, and then this little. Well, that's Superman. So it must be this. This must be Lois. And Superman says, "Oh, it's whatever," right? Well, this against strings. Again, now because this is strings, why is that woodwinds? Well, partially because of its answer, partially because we want a new color, and since we're doing strings, woodwinds are a nice color. And then if it's woods, what other color haven't we heard yet? Well, we haven't heard brass. And who happens to be in that ennobling range right here in the center? That's horns. I mean, that's just gonna sing. It's a beautiful range for horns. It's perfect. So now you see things are sort of falling together. They're coming together, or not. Maybe this blows. I don't know.